Yo, what's going on? So, I guess I'm taking over the intro right now
Let's do it.
because I looked at everybody just smiling. So, yeah, what's happening, everybody? I don't know even where we're streaming to. I think Daryl's got us streaming on my YouTube, your YouTube, Sam, your YouTube, Daryl, your YouTube, Alejandro. So, for everybody that's coming through and maybe doesn't know who each of us are and really what's happening here, this is the inner circle, right? At least for me, this is my inner circle. These are the people I pick up the phone and I reach out to, I call, I talk to, I work through deals with, I work on how to make higher level decisions, how to make more money, how to make more impact. These are the men that I reach out to in my life, and I'm grateful to call brothers. And essentially, we've been talking now for the last couple of months because we're just like, how do we deliver more value? How do we grow? How do we take on the position that we had for other people were doing in our lives? Right? We were served by people like the Pace Morbys of the world, the Brent Daniels, the Jamil Damjis. These men came and showed us exactly how to go out and really create a community. So we want to create community, we want to provide value, and we figured the best way to do this is to not keep doing the one-on-ones that we've been doing just because they're so time consuming, but to figure out a way to give collectively. So essentially that's what you're seeing here, the coming together of all of us with our knowledge, experience, business, as we're stepping into bigger masterminds, as we're stepping into new places in our business. We're coming here to share it and show what's working. So, my introduction for myself, my name is Marlon Johnson, entrepreneur, a parkour athlete turned entrepreneur, currently investing in real estate and doing high performance coaching. And I absolutely love my life. I help entrepreneurs break through and make their first six figures. And it's a blast. I'm living the dream. So I'm going to pass the mic up to my man, Sam Singh.
It's absolutely an honor, man, to especially to follow up after you guys. We've been talking about this for 2 months now, 3 months now. This has been something that's been in the works for a long time. And there's a reason why. Before we decided to go live on YouTube, we actually have a group chat, and it is one of the dopest group chats probably on the face of the earth. Where all we do is the four of us. We each run our own companies. We each have various entrepreneurial endeavors, and we go out and we create problems. And when problems come up, we come back to each other and we solve them together. This is a group of the men that I consider my sounding boards, right? We have our mentors that we look up to, but these are my brothers that I'm coming up with. And in my honest, humble opinion, these three guys are going to be massive industry leaders, and they're just coming into their own. And the beautiful thing is that they're just getting started. And that's actually the most exciting part for me is now that we're going to do this, guys, get used to this. We're going to kind of go into more in a little bit about what this specifically will look like, but just get used to seeing the four of us together because we're going to do some amazing things. So a little bit about me. For anyone that doesn't know me, my name is Sam Singh. I am a serial entrepreneur. I am a wholesaler. I am a creative buy and holder. And for all intents and purposes, my kind of viewpoint on everything is how do I run everything that I can, all of my businesses, not only as a CEO, but as a true business owner. My whole thing is helping people become the best closers they can be and helping them scale their operations. So Marlon is doing high performance coaching. I'm doing high performance coaching for people, helping them scale their businesses. And honestly, guys, I mean, it's an absolute honor for me to be here with you because Marlon, you're a guy who eventually helped me find my way in that space. And if you didn't do that, I wouldn't be able to help all the people that I'm helping right now. So, brother, it is an absolute honor to be here with you. But it's enough about me. I'm going to go ahead and pass it off to the guy on my right, one of my best friends on this earth, Daryl Ellison.
My guys, my guys, bros. I'm just super excited to just provide value, right? Like the value that goes on in our group chat is insane, right? So I can only imagine what's gonna come out of our heads, come out of our mouths on this podcast because I know we're all in the same boat, right? We're here to provide value. We're here to give back. We're here to honestly help people, right? So I know me, I'm not holding anything back. Like I'm giving the sauce out. I'm sorry if y'all gave me some sauce that I use and I throw it out here on the YouTube channel that y'all may not want on there, but we're dropping a lot of value on this podcast series, whatever you want to call this, right? We'll be here every single Tuesday, just dropping so much value. If you don't know me, I'm Daryl Ellison, also serial entrepreneur, wholesaler, creative buyer, closer, also high performance coach. I have a sales coaching program. It's a community of just badass closers, and just ready to be here and just provide value. You know what I'm saying? So my guy underneath, Alejandro, my brother, what's going on, bro?
Bro, I can't stop smiling how excited I am right now. This is crazy. Went from text messaging, Facebook, now we're on YouTube. This is crazy. So excited, bro. I've never been on a live before, and it's like I'm just so excited. Man, I mean, over here we got my bestest friends over here. Sam, every time I get on the phone, he makes me realize how small I'm thinking in business. Marlon is someone that I can truly trust with my energy. I'm really super protective with my energy as far as staying positive, staying consistent. Marlon is the guy I can always go to and fully trust that he will never, ever mess up my energy, or, in fact, he always just helps me to get better. Daryl, inspiring. Just I remember when we first spoke on the phone, you were asking questions on how to do this and how to do that. Like, you're just taking action, bro. You're just an animal, straight closer, just taking action, man. I'm super excited to be on here with you guys. And if, just to tell you guys a little bit about me, I've been in sales for a very long time. I would say since I was 16. I'm 29 now. Just turned 29 a few weeks ago, actually. So I've always been in sales, started as door knocking. Then I went to, my previous job before here was a car dealership. Well, I was making well over 6 figures a year. I was top sales for Nissan nationwide. And, I just wanted my time back. And here I am in real estate. I have multiple businesses now. Thank you. Thank God for the Sub2 community for always having my back. And, I have a wholesale operation, virtual assistant business, skip tracing business, data management business. And man, I couldn't have done it, without my best friends here and without the Sub2 community and, just having a strong belief system. So super excited to get started, man.
I want to, but before we go any further, I think it's really, really important to note this. The four of us are, this is totally braggadocious for me to say, but I'm going to say it with a little bit of certainty. I think we're some of the best closers around, period. And the reality is, before we go any further in about what we want to do and who we want to serve and how we're going to serve, and we will serve, guys, make no doubt about it. We're going to serve in a big freaking way. I want to say publicly, emphatically, thank you to Pace Morby. Because if it wasn't for Pace Morby in the Sub2 community, none of us would know each other. We were all birthed. Alejandro's wearing the hoodie right now. He's got the Sub2. He's repping the Sub2 logo right now. The reality is Sub2 brought us all together. Sub2, for me at least, taught me how to be a phenomenal closer. Pace himself did. I know a lot of that goes for a couple of you guys here. Alejandro, I think, was just a salesman from birth. I think he came out of the womb and was already selling things. It was, they cut the umbilical cord. He decided to resell it, flip it at a higher. It's just what he does. But with that being said, Marlon, kind of lead us in, man. What are we actually doing here? What are we going to be doing for the community?
Yeah, so great question. And, Sam, always love how you give honor and homage to where we come from and keeping it like straight, like let everybody know. Shout out to Pace Morby, one of the realest freaking MVPs I think we ever had. I mean, holy crap. Like, we're going to deliver value because that man taught us how. So really with this show, what we realized was there was a lot of lack of execution happening with individuals. They're gaining a lot of knowledge, right? We don't want you being career students. Like, this channel, this show is not so you could be a career student. It's come here, take action, go screw things up, bring it back. Let's fix it. Let's move on, right? We're here to talk business, right? Ultimately, when we're talking business, we're talking about understanding the fundamentals of business so that you can apply it across the board. You heard our man Alejandro. He does not have just one venture. He has multiple ventures, multiple streams of income. On average, millionaires have 7 streams of income. They don't get there by continuously hustling and throwing themselves into a place where they're trading time for money. Recognize that in the beginning, you will have to hustle, no question about it. However, hustle is not an operating system, it's a season. So we're going to be talking you through getting out of the hustle season into the, what are we calling it? The CEO mindset, into the, we have.
I would say that, right? I mean, it's first and foremost, guys, like Marlon's 1,000% right. If you're just starting and you haven't gotten your first deal, I'm sorry, you are going to have to hustle. Why? Because you got to learn, you got to get your reps in, you got to pay your dues, right? One of my newest mentors, he coined this phrase, and I love the way that he says it. He says it with a tremendous amount of grit. And that is, hustle for as long as you need to, but the hustler must die. And all of us here, all 4 of us, have paid our freaking dues day in and day out. Like, we've had days where we're on the phone for 12 hours a day, morning to night, listening to a dial tone, getting cussed out by sellers, getting cussed out by everyone under the sun, and we still keep going. Each of us are in a position now where we are true CEOs and business owners. If you're like Alejandro or me, you are constantly looking for new streams of income to build. And I know for a fact Alejandro does this, because he and I have accountability calls where we get on the phone and we actually see how we're running our things. And we don't build them to grind in them anymore. We build them strategically to scale, to be a CEO, and to never have to hustle in them. Because we've already paid that due before. We want to give everyone kind of the blueprint to do the same thing. But to your point, Marlon, 100% hustler to CEO.
So that's going to be the idea here. As you all come in, as you take part in these episodes, as you participate in the comments, and yes, I will be asking, I'll be mandating that if you come in and watch, you be participating in the comments, because this is where you meet up and you squad up with the right kind of people, the people that get in tune to a show like this, that resonate with myself, that resonate with Sam, Daryl, Alejandro, right? Those are the other sort of people that you want to be plugged in with, because like attracts like. So we're going to be starting from the very beginning. I'm talking like entry level. I'm broke. I'm living at mom's house. I'm on the couch, and I need to figure out how to make my first couple of dollars, because that's where most people start at. Let's just be honest. Most people, you don't start watching how to make money, how to wholesale, how to earn income, how to buy real estate because your life is so damn perfect. That's just not why you start. You start because you have a problem, and typically that problem is you need some money, right? Finances, you're tired of trading your time, and you just can't do that rat race anymore. So we want to start from the very beginning, and we want to make the assumption that whoever is starting off has 0 resources. However, they are resourceful, right? They're willing to be resourceful. In essence, our goal here is to turn this show into something of a master class, that if you watch from beginning to end, that we should be getting phone calls and that should be saying, yo, thank you for helping me build out a business that is fully automated and it's producing me at least 6 figures. At least.
You just gave me chills, bro. Honestly, what I think about, like when we're just sitting here planning this, right? It's like, when I first got started, right? What did I want? Right? What do I think? Like, just looking back on it, what did I need to literally get my first $10,000, $20,000, whatever, in the next 30, 45 days, right? Like, what are the steps? And I mean, I took a lot of action based on on YouTube, but I had a bunch of different mentors, right? Like, I had to go from one person to the next. Like, okay, this is what I have to do here. Okay, I go to search somebody else. This is what I got to do for this. Right now, with what we're building, what we're creating, this is literally going to be playlist of just masters. Literally, like you said, Marlon, just a master class. And I'm super excited. This is something that I'm sure we'll be able to sell this for thousands of dollars if we wanted to. You know what I'm saying? So this is exciting.
Yeah, it's 100%, man. We may actually have to take this off YouTube, clip it up, and start selling it at some point or another.
Yeah.
And the reality is this: I want to highlight this, guys. Make no mistake about it. We're all young. Like, all of us are in our 20s, right? We're all in basically our mid to late 20s. We're all still coming up. And if you're like me, I think I may be the newest one to entrepreneurship on this screen right now. The reality is, we've transcended in such a high rate, in such a fast pace, because we've had the right mentors out there. Make no mistake, guys, there are other people who can speak to what we speak about. But what's different is what Marlon highlighted. It's that the way we speak about it, the way that we're going to shortcut things for you guys are going to be very different than how anyone else presents these things. Marlon, Daryl, Alejandro, we all have tons of friends in our communities, right? We have friends who are in various communities, various mentorships that we love. We love and adore them. When we first came up with this idea, that group chat was only 4 of us. There was no one else in it. Now we have about 10, 15, 20 people who could probably help us crush this podcast. But only 4 names were there from the beginning. It was the 4 of us. And there's a specific reason why. Is because all of us are extremely high. We have a high emphasis on one thing and one thing alone, and that is just freaking taking action and moving the needle forward. You guys are going to hear me say a lot of things. One of the most important things that you're going to hear me say, especially, I'm probably going to say this at least once every other episode, is there is no time for deliberation. There's no time for deliberation. There's no time for hesitation. We're going to move with supreme urgency. But let's kind of get into the format of things, guys. Alejandro, can you kind of carry us into what this format's going to look like? What can the people expect, like on a weekly basis?
Well, I would say first and foremost, we all have, a specific superpower. We definitely have to dig deep into finding out what our viewers have to offer into this marketplace as far as, the real estate industry. What's your superpower, right? There's going to be some things that we're going to say that may not fit your current position, right? You might have a different position. You might have a W-2 that might not let you put 40, 50 hours a week in your job, right? But there's still other ways you can still make money here, right? Someone may not have a W-2, but has so much time they can put into this business. And there's still upsides to that. So it's not one shoe fits all. But I can guarantee you, with all 4 of us, you're going to see multiple different views on how to get started and how to get your first check. Not your first deal, your first check.
Ooh, I love that. I love that. And I want to just say, I'm going to name that first section of what we're doing here, because business is going to be race to revenue. Right. So understanding, because when you're born, when your business is birthed, and I want everyone to understand this. So for the people that already have businesses and you're thriving, awesome. You probably remember this. Like many of us, you remember going through this phase of your race to revenue. This is right after your business is born, right after you birth that idea, right after you decide you're stepping into real estate. It is now, all right, how quickly can I go and get my nutrients, which is $1? Because if your business is not making money, it will fail. So like Alejandro said, we are getting you to that first check as fast as humanly possible. So I'm loving that. So we got the race to revenue coming up first. And Sam, I think while we're here this is episode 0 officially, right? This is our introduction. I think it's important that we let people know where we were at beforehand. Because, anyone that's been following us on social media, you kind of see where we're at now. You've seen the checks, you've seen the deals, you've seen the HUD statements. Like we've all in our own way have shown those things. So I don't think anyone's here to question, have we done and made success in our own lane? I want people to understand, though, that it did not start there. Right. So, I'll lead us off, and then I want to hear from each of you, a little bit about your story on where you were before you started finding your traction. So imagine this. It's, I'm 24, 25 years old. I'm standing in a catering hall, the Elks Lodge, and I've just thrown the mop down on the ground. And for the very first time in my life, I'm thinking to myself, I hate my life. I hate the situation. Like, I'm not happy. See, I was really beginning to have this is the first time it ever happened to me. I'm starting to flash into the future, and I'm seeing my future, and I'm realizing it's not getting me excited. I was in college getting ready to go and get my physical therapy degree, and it just, check this out. I call it the rocking chair experiment. I pictured myself on a rocking chair at 90 years old, and I'm looking backwards on my life, Sam, and I'm imagining what life looks like if I continue on the same trajectory that I'm going. And I see it. I buy the house with the white fence, and I have the stupid dog in the front yard, and I got the stupid kids running around, and I got that marriage that it's not all that terrible, so you don't quite get out of it, but it's not really all that passionful. And I'm still working at this restaurant on the weekends just to make a little extra cash. And like, it disgusted me, Sam. It disgusted me. So in that moment, I did something that I don't recommend anybody else do, Daryl. I don't recommend anyone do this. I quit my job right there on the spot. Right, 1 o'clock in the morning, standing in this restaurant, not knowing what I was going to do next. I just knew, like many of you, that I could not take what I was currently living through, which was a mediocre life that didn't provide any growth, because I could do the mental math pretty quickly. And I realized the amount of time it was going to take me in order to become wealthy, even just to hit $1 million, I wasn't going to live enough years to do that. So I started doing what any normal person would do. I started reading every book under the sun on how to make money. I started watching hours and hours and hours of YouTube. And I could tell you, fast forward a little bit, my life didn't change until I found good quality people to be around and good mentors. That was when my life changed. That was when I discovered the vehicle of real estate, because I found a few things prior. However, I found the vehicle of real estate, and I realized that the secret to living is giving. And in real estate, it was an industry that allows you to go out and provide value. And in exchange for the value you provide by helping others, you can make money. So when I started that, just so people understand what the finances was at, I was working 3 jobs, living in New York with my mom and my sister, right? Living at home, working 3 jobs, making maybe about 20 grand a year. I'm talking like your boy was broke, but he was happy, but he was broke until he started to realize like the things I wanted, I couldn't get. So that started the hunger for, like, when people ask me like, hey, why did I get into entrepreneurship? It was like, I was broke. And here's the coolest thing, Alejandro. When I was living at that point of working in the restaurant, I also cleaned AutoZones at nighttime. And I also worked with kids. I used to coach this sport, an amazing sport called parkour, had over 1,000 students. And these young athletes, they used to look up to me. And when I would ask them, what do they want to do with the rest of their life? What do they want to do with their future? They would say to me that they want to be parkour coaches and parkour athletes. And I was like, yes, fuck, I'm ruining them. Like, straight up, I'm ruining these kids, because the reason they're saying this is because they're seeing how happy I show up to work. They're seeing that part of my life I really enjoy, but they don't know about the financial struggle. They don't know that I'm starting to imagine wanting to have a family one day. They don't know that I'm starting to want to travel, and that stuff costs money. So really diving into figuring out how to make myself better was so that I can make my life better, to show them a better way. And that's why you'll see, like, I'm in good company when I'm hanging out with Sam, Daryl, and Alejandro, because these guys are cut from the same cloth. They want to make their lives better so that they can be role models for others. So I just want people to understand where this is coming from, like why this show is birthed, why we're constantly getting on social media, why I'm constantly watching my brothers here go out and provide the value at the level they do. It's so innate. And I want people to understand that a little bit here. So whenever someone says, like, why are you doing this? I could say, yo, go back to the very first episode. Go into about minute 15, and you'll listen to us start to explain our reason, our story, where we came from, and why it's so damn important that we keep moving forward. So I'm going to now pass the mic over to my brother Sam above me.
Dude, yeah, this is a kind of a really interesting thing, right? With being with you guys, being with my brothers here, because I'm gonna ask this: is there anyone here who came from money? None of us did. None of us did. Nope, not even close. The reality is this, guys. I know these guys, and we're probably not going to get into, because I don't want to out them for how well they're doing. I think we all know they're doing well, but you guys may be surprised at how well. The simple truth is this: doing a podcast live weekly and coming up with real value points to add, it takes time, and it takes time away from businesses. The simple truth is Alejandro, Daryl, Marlon, these guys can go not do this every week, and they'll probably make more money by doing that, by spending that same hour every single week in their businesses. Knowing Alejandro, he'll probably come up with about 3 more business models every week, right? The simple truth is this: none of us come from money. In fact, I think a lot of us come from a lot of poverty and strife, and lot of high crime kind of backgrounds, not necessarily with us, but in the areas that we came up in. And we all have very specific purposes to be here. And I think a lot of us are speaking, or a few of us at the very least, are speaking to very specific audiences that maybe some of the other people in this industry aren't speaking to. And they're people that look like us. They come from backgrounds like us, right? And they come with a different set of problems, a different set of generational curses they need to break. And that is, guys, I want to show everyone here how to make tons of freaking money. Tons. I want people not just to make 6 figures a year. I want them to make 6 figures a month. And that's something that Marlon, you and I are pretty emphatically about. We led the 6-figure February challenge to show people how to do that in 1 month, and we crushed it. I want people to do that, but I want people to also leave behind a tremendous legacy. And I think, you know, I think someone that we all look up to is this amazing man and speaker named Ed Mylett, right? I think we're all phenomenal fans of him and what he brings to the table. Ed Mylett has this saying that in every family's lineage, in every bloodline, at some point there is one person that comes along and alters the trajectory of that lineage forever. I firmly believe that the 4 of us here are the 4 that do it for our own bloodlines. My goal, truthfully, is that the people who watch, right, our viewers, our friends, our circles, our collaborators, everyone in the side chat, that you guys are also the ones that change the trajectory of your family's history forever. So, Marlon, to your point about, like, you know, what did my life look like before this? Guys, by the way, it is actually really amazing that we started November 1st, 2022. Why? Because today is actually my 1-year anniversary in entrepreneurship. I actually officially started in the Sub2 community exactly 1 year ago to this date. So I just realized that maybe about an hour ago. So it's an amazing thing. So for me, looking back, it's not too long ago. I can just look at what my life looked like last year. I was in a totally different field of work. I was extremely high performing in it, and I had a great time doing it. And I thought I was chasing down a legacy and a higher sense of duty and responsibility and honor. And at one point, something really unfortunate happened in my family. And I was asked to make a very, very difficult decision. And that decision was choose my job or my family. And I say that it was a difficult decision. No, it wasn't. I told the guy who was in charge of me, thank you. You made that very, very, very easy for me. And then I left that same day. I had no idea what I was going to do, guys. I spent 5 years. I was getting a graduate degree at the time. I was getting a master's degree specifically for this line of work. I'd spent 5 years building to being this man. And just like that, in a matter of 24 hours, that completely went away. Marlon taught me this beautiful, beautiful saying maybe about a month ago when we were in Miami, we're on a road trip. And you said, Sam, what you had was called an ego death. I spent 5 years building up my identity to be this specific human being, to be this specific man of high integrity, of high honor, of high duty. And within 24 hours, that was basically taken away from me. I lost my identity. I lost my purpose. I had no idea what the hell I was going to do. And I kind of did what Marlon did, almost a little bit, where I basically started to visualize what the hell my future was going to look like. Because what I'd spent 5 years visualizing was out the door now. And then I realized that I had a tremendous fear in life. Now, I think everyone here and everyone watching and listening, we all have a perfect vision of what we believe our destiny is. This perfect version of ourselves in the future, right? Daryl, when you think of yourself in 20 years, you have a very specific house that you live in, right? A wife that's probably super hot knowing you. You're probably super jacked. You probably got an 8-pack, right? You have this perfect vision of your life. Okay, I think we all have that. When I had this ego death, I had to sit down in a long period of reflection. And it was a long period of reflection. It was quite a long period of honest to God depression too. And I had this vision of myself and my future. And I realized that no matter what, I had one critical fear. Marlon, I came on your podcast a long time ago and we talked about this specifically. You asked me, Sam, what is your one fear? And I said, I don't really fear anything except for one thing, but that one fear drives me day in and day out. And that one fear is specifically not becoming the man who I was always meant to be. Then I realized that on the trajectory that I was on, the things that I was doing, it would not put enough resources, enough tools in my belt for me to be able to serve my family, my lineage, my descendants, my children, and then equally as important, the people around me, my friends, my brothers, the guys on this screen, right? The people who are in the chat. Can't serve them if I'm not thriving myself. Right then and there, I decided, holy crap, I need to do more. I will never work for someone ever again. At that moment, I completely decided, holy shit, I've got a master's degree and I am unemployable. I am completely unemployable. So what did that look like, guys? Last year, I finished my grad degree because I was close enough to finishing it. I had no money, period. Like, we're all in the Sub2 community, guys. Full transparency. I got in on the 6-month payment plan that I didn't even have money for month 2. So if I didn't get a deal, I was like, they were going to kick my ass out. No money, no job, unemployable. I had a decision that basically, we've all heard we've all heard the phrase, right, of burning the boats. I decided, guys, don't try this because I've changed it. But right then and there, I made a conscious decision with my financial future to burn the boats. How legitimate and how literally did I take that? I literally changed my bank account password to burn the boats. So every time I went in to my bank account to look at how broke I was, I had to type in the word burn the boats. And then right then and there, I got my first deal within basically about a month and a half. I've just wrapped up my first year. We've closed over 52 deals now, and we're just going to scale. We're going to scale so far, guys, and I want to scale with my brothers. I want to scale with you guys. But that's a little bit about me. Daryl, dude, I want to hear all about it, bro.
That's awesome, bro. It's crazy because like hearing Marlon, hearing Sam talk, I'm just thinking like, damn, there's a reason why we're brothers, because like I relate so much. You know what I'm saying? Like, Sam, when you're talking about, you building this identity of yourself the past 5 years, right? And it's just being taken away from you. Bro, my whole life, like, if you asked me what I was doing, I was going to be in the NFL, right? Even though I'm fucking 6 foot, right? Barely 6 foot, and I'm not in shape like I was supposed to be, right? I was going to the NFL regardless. You know what I'm saying? My whole life, like, if you asked me what I was in school for, I would really tell people football, right? And when it was over, right, and the last time taking my pads off, I was like, dang, I really don't know what I'm gonna do, right? And I did lose myself, right? I wouldn't say I was depressed, but I lost myself for a while, right? And there was a time where I got into really bad routines, right? I was playing the game all day, smoking weed all day, not doing anything productive, right? I was working, always working, but the times that I had off, I was literally just filling my mind with crap, right? And I just kept doing this until I had to like, I was literally pulled out. Like, I feel like God literally grabbed me by my chest and like pulled me out of this path I was going to, you know what I'm saying? So my story is actually kind of crazy. So my first deal ever was my mom's house. I wholesaled my mom's house, right? So my mom lives in Arizona, right? I was living in Maryland at the time, and she owned the house that I grew up in. It was a rental property for her. Her tenant ended up, he was on the run from the cops, right? He stopped making her payment. It's a crazy story, right? He stopped making her payment, and now my mom's an out-of-state landlord with a non-cash flowing property, and she has a mortgage on it, right? So she's like, I can't keep paying 2 mortgages every single month. So I'm like, you know what, Mom, I got you. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'll figure it out, right? I'll go down YouTube University and I figure it out, right? Like when I say, like, I watch a video, Brent Daniels says, do this, I go and do that, or Jerry Norton says, do this, like, or Max Maxwell says, do this, I went and did that. You know what I'm saying? So I got my mom's house, got it under contract, sold it in like 2 weeks, right? My mom got paid, I got paid, and I'm like, damn, I did it completely wrong, by the way. Like, I was left off the HUD and everything. Like, my mom paid me off out of her side. Like, it was bad, right? But I'm like, damn, like, I'm pretty good at this, right? Like, let me figure this out. Let me keep doing it, right? And it's crazy because as I'm doing this, I'm pretty much homeless, right? I'm living on my boy's couch, not even a couch. I'm living in his living room on an air mattress that has a hole on it. So every morning, every morning I'm waking up to my back touching the ground, right? But I get up anyways. I wake up early. I put up straight the first thing I did. Like instead of I just switched my habits, right? Instead of waking up playing the game like I usually did, I woke up, put on a YouTube video, start cold calling. Just completely different, shifted my mindset, right? And just kept doing this, became obsessed, right? Like Alejandro, you were saying like I was really that guy that was calling everybody. Marlon has a story as well. Like I'm just calling everybody, trying to figure out how do I become the best that I could possibly be. And people were giving me advice, and I just did it. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what I'm doing, but I just did it, right? So that's my story. I always say like this life really chose me, right? Because without it, I was going down a path that I really don't see myself getting out of, right? It could have got really dark really, really fast. So I'm super grateful, super humble every single day for where I'm at.
Ooh. Yo.
Alejandro, my God,
Powerful.
You know,
Yeah.
before we get to
Powerful.
Alejandro, because Alejandro has one of the he's got one of the best stories out there. He really does. And you know, Alejandro, with your story, your origin story being what it is, I'm actually shocked right now that you haven't been on my podcast, The Origin Story. I'm actually a little bit insulted now. I'm just kidding. But I wanted to have you guys noticed there's a lot of themes here, right? So far, Marlon's gone, I've gone, Daryl's gone. There's a lot of similarities between all of us. And especially with what we came from, the fact that so far, all three of us have very clearly had an ego death where our identities were basically taken away and stripped away, and not by our own volition. Now, the reality is, guys, and Alejandro's got an amazing story. I want him to say it, but Alejandro is going to be basically posed with the same problem. And I want everyone to pay attention to how every time this has happened in all of our lives, there was a conscious decision made to not let it define us. And that's huge. So, Alejandro, please. I'm so sorry to interrupt, man. I just want to say that.
All good. Thank you, Sam. We definitely need to fix me not being your podcast yet. I mean, we need to fix that ASAP. But man, just here, I'm still so excited, bro. I'm like, it's crazy. But I really have a very long story, but I'm gonna do my best to make it really short. For those who don't know, I was born in Dominican Republic. It's really a third world country, very poor. I used to live in a house that was made entirely of aluminum in the hot sun, right? This is me sleeping with spiders, big spiders, man, just crawling all over. Like I think we had like this thing called it was like a tent over my bed, and that was the only thing that protects me from the spiders at night. And very quickly, I wasn't even 1 year old yet. My mom moved to St. Martin. St. Martin is a French and Dutch island in the Caribbean, and that's really where I feel like that's where I saw how beautiful this world could be. Because St. Martin is such a beautiful island, man. Like you're surrounded by the beach. Like to get to the other side of the island, like in a car, it'll take you like maybe 20 minutes. There's no highways, just like two-way road. And if you look it up, you'll see the plane landing like really low by the beach. And I feel like just being in St. Martin, I think that's where I really found my peace, really, because there were so many race around. There were so many different type of people from different, parts of the world, just having a peaceful life in one small island. And that's where I found to love anyone for who they are, right? I don't judge. I don't prejudge anyone. I want to get to know you personally, see what your intentions are, see what your goals are. Let's see if I can help you somehow. And man, just going from there again, like we were still very poor. My mom worked her ass off to get me here to the United States. She worked really, really hard, man. And like, it's giving me the chills just to think about it. I text my mom every single night. Like, if you guys still have your mother right now, text her right now, tell her you love her, because a lot of people don't have that luxury. So that's something I'm really proud of. My mom is my biggest supporter. Anything I do in life, she always supports. Like, hey, look at my son. Look what he's doing. You should check my son out. Look what he's doing. He's doing this. My son is in real estate. My son is a car salesman. You should go to him. Biggest supporter, man. And at the age of, I want to say 16, that's when I started door knocking, selling vacuums, Kirby. This was in Georgia. My God, it was so hot back then. But I just wanted to make money. I'm like, Mom, I want to make this happen for us. And after that, I moved to Texas because my grandma at the time lost her husband in Puerto Rico. And I moved to Texas. And that's when I started doing valet. I was 17 at the time. They accepted me. I don't know if I persuaded them to accept me. I was supposed to be 18 and have a license. I was like, whatever. I believe you got this. Because in reality, I've been driving. I told him this story. I'm like, hey, I've been driving stick shifts since I was 7 years old. Legit. That's not even a made up story. My uncle taught me how to drive a stick shift car when I was 7 years old. Obviously, this is the Dominican Republic. You'll go to jail if you do this in the United States. So they let me in. And this is at the Fairmont, downtown Dallas. I'm looking at Aston Martin, Lamborghinis, Bentley, celebrities, just driving through, and I'm like, oh my God. And I'm just seeing these things. Like, sometimes people don't even get to see those cars in person, but just being in it, it's a complete different thing. And like going back, looking back at it, like, that's just me manifesting what I'm going to be able to do in life. And man, one day I saw this guy just pulled in an Aston Martin with a suit on, like, confidence, like, skyrocketed at the sky. Like, and I asked him, like, hey man, like, what do you do? What do you need? What do I need to do to get a car like that? And he was like, you read books? I'm like, no, but if that's what it takes, sure. He said, read this book called Rich Dad Poor Dad. Legit. This is when I was 17 years old. That was my first book I ever read. Keep in mind, I always hated reading books back in school. If it didn't have pictures in it, I'm out. Like, anything with just words, like, I was just out. Like, I need to visualize what this book is telling me. But I pick up the Rich Dad Poor Dad book, and that's when I started reading it. And a couple of years moving forward, I don't think I did anything with it, but I started looking up like bandit signs, maybe stuff on YouTube at the time. And there was this big thing going on in Dallas where, a lot of people that were in real estate were doing wholesaling. And at that time, I started working for an air duct company. This is where, like, you get your ducts clean, and you buy a coupon on Groupon for like $39-$59. And this was like my first job, not my first job, my second job after the valet. I'm still working at the valet. I just wanted to make more money. I wanted to make a lot of money. And I looked at this job on Craigslist. Legit, this guy said, meet me in a white van tomorrow at 7 a.m. I was freaked out. I'm like, what? So I let my friend drop me off, and I told him, hey, bro, if you don't hear back from me in like 10 minutes, I've been kidnapped.
Real quick.
Go ahead.
So this guy, he said, meet me in a white van. And you went.
Yes, I went.
You looked at your friend and you said, if I don't come back, it's because creepy pedophile guy with the windowless white van, I'm in there. And he's probably doing some really unfortunate things to me. So you made the decision to go. See, guys, this is why Alejandro is here. When he makes a decision, he freaking goes with it. That's
hungry. Bro, you got to be hungry. I just want to let people know you got to be hungry.
Yep. And I think the ad may have said you could probably make, I don't know, $3,000 to $4,000 a month, something like that, as a salesperson. I'm like, okay, cool. But I started as a helper, and I was just cleaning the ducts, and I was driving with the salesperson. I was like, man, how much money do you make, dude? And he was like, man, maybe 6,000 on a good month. I'm like, man, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money for me. When I made my first $1,000, I thought I had it all. Like I was rich. I'm like $1,000. Yo, I've never seen that amount of money in my bank account. I bought my first PlayStation 2, or was it 2 or 3? I think I bought my PlayStation 3. I bought Call of Duty. But either way, back to the story. Driving in the van, and these guys were, I think like the whole company was owned by, like Arabic or Hebrew guys. Amazing people, amazing, nicest people I've ever met here in Dallas. Treated me like family, and maybe a month later I became a salesperson. Again, keep in mind these people are buying coupons for like $39, and like that first month, making people pay 2,000, $1,500, just to get their ducks clean. Because realistically, and again, when you're in sales, you can make something up, and sometimes I make things up in my head that just makes sense. That it convinced me, like, whoa, that was true. And these customers, they buy these additional services, which in reality it does help clean their ducts, because some people have never cleaned their air ducts in years. You're supposed to do it every year to keep it clean. But either way, I remember one day I was driving in that white van. I'm like, man, I can't believe I didn't get kidnapped. And I saw this really nice car, sports car, just drive by the highway. And I'm like, man, what is that car? I want that car. It was like the Scion FRS. It's a coupe. It's a nice sports car. And I went to the dealership, and I've never ran my credit before. They was like, hey, you have no credit. You need $3,000 down. At that time, that was a lot of money. But something, I don't know if was it the feeling of the guy looking at me in the face telling me that I cannot have that car because I don't have $3,000, just gave me so much energy. I'm like, okay, you know what? I'll be back. Dude, I went ham in the valet business and the air duct cleanings. Literally took me about a month to get that $3,000. I came back. I'm like, hey, here's $3,000 cash. Keep in my car. And I think that was, just looking back at it now that I'm such a huge believer in manifestation and visualization. That's really what happened. It was that magic that happened. I put, someone gave me a number, and I went back home and I did the math and what it's going to take for me to get that, and I made it happen. I was working overnight at the valet, and I was working during the daytime at the air duct services. After that, got into the dealership. I was selling Nissans, pre-owned vehicles. They were telling me like, hey, you're just going to stand outside in the hot sun so you can get some cars and give it to, a guy that's been here for a longer time. Give it to a veteran. I'm like, okay. At that time, I felt like I was being played. I'm like, man, I'm in the hot sun all day, dude. I'm trying to make some money. I don't want to give my opportunity to someone else. And I snuck in a Spanish customer, right? A lot of people don't know I speak Spanish. I speak Spanish, English, a little bit of French, and I can understand a little bit of Italian. But I grabbed a Spanish customer. They were obviously like, if they look at me like, there's no way this guy speaks Spanish. But closed that deal, made $1,000 that day. They were like, oh my God, this guy's, what? Didn't you just start it? I'm like, yeah, I did. But I didn't know back then. I didn't really, I didn't know I was like a closer. I just thought I was talking to people, like just regular, just building conversations. It's not like I'm intentionally trying to be the best closer. I just want to make money. And I felt like just having a regular conversation with someone is really what made me money. Right. But I'm just being at a dealership for so long. I'm like, dude, why are you making 5,000 and why I'm making 15, 17, 20 a month? Like, what's the difference here? And I was just taking consistent action, man. This is 70 hours plus a week at the dealership. The only off day you have is Sunday. And there was one time at the dealership, I think this was back in 2015. This is where I went back into dealership, went back into wholesaling. I started putting out Bennett signs. I was this guy in a suit with a coupe, just in the middle of the intersection on Friday evening, because if those who knows about Bennett sign, you're supposed to do it in the weekends so it can last the whole weekend. If you put it like on Thursday, they'll take it out the next day. But if you put it on Friday evening, they'll take it out on Monday, I believe, is when they take it out. So you get the whole weekend. So I was that guy with the suit just in the intersection, just putting bandit signs out. Probably maybe got one deal out of it. But I was getting a whole bunch of wholesalers calling me at the time. It says, Alex buy houses cash. And it was like a phone number that I got from Walmart. It was hilarious. But fast forward to like maybe 2.5 years into the dealership, there was this one time that my boss at the time told me, "Hey man, you got a lot of past dues in your records, in your database. Please come back with 100 phone calls by the end of the day. Keep in mind the minimum phone calls you're supposed to make is like 25 phone calls." So I'm like, okay, cool. I was still selling cars. I was ahead. I was selling a lot of cars. And that same day, I was in a relationship at the time. Her parents flew out from a different country to come see me, to come meet me. And it was like during Christmas time. It was winter. I remember it was cold. But that day, I was at the dealership. I get off at 6. The lights went out twice. I had 4 customers in the building. And I still managed to make like 83 phone calls. I can almost remember that. And I went to, it was like 6:15, 6:30-ish. And I came to my boss. I'm like, "Hey, boss, I had some customers. Lights went out. I have 83 phone call." And he was like, "Nope, you got to make 100 phone calls." I was like, that was the first time I ever told him, like, "Hey, man, I actually can't do it this time because I have a dinner date. I have to go meet my girl at the time. His family. They just flew in from a different country." And just like Sam, this is crazy, Sam. He said, "It's either your job or your family." It took me about 3 seconds to analyze what just happened. And I just said, "Okay, have a great night." I walked out the door. Without overthinking that, I just walked out the door, hopped in my coupe, went downtown. I was the happiest guy at dinner. They didn't even tell my girl at the time what happened. I just walked out. And the next day, I look at my phone. My manager was texting me, "Hey, the boss wants you back. The boss wants you back. You know, you just got to apologize." I'm like, "What? F that. I'm not apologizing. I did my job." But either way, I was back there on Monday. But at that moment right there, that's when I realized I had no control over my life. I had no control over my life. And fast forward towards the pandemic, everyone was freaking out. Let's be honest. Everyone was freaking out when the pandemic first came out. We're all freaking out. I'm like, "Oh my God, we're going to die. Don't touch me, please. Wash your hand sanitizer." And I realized right then and there, like, because I only get paid commission. Dealership's straight commission. I'm like, dang, I really have to risk my life to go make money right now. This is crazy. This is really crazy. I have no control of my life. And that was like my toughest year for me mentally because my father passed away that year. And it wasn't because of the pandemic. He died because of diabetes. And that he was the closest thing I had to a father. He was my sister's dad. My real father, my biological fathers haven't been in my life for a very long time. And that was a really sad year for me. And I was when that happened, I'm like, this is not how my life is supposed to go. I'm not supposed to be working for someone that has full control of my life. I'm working 70 hours a week. I can't even go to my family's funeral. This is not how it's supposed to be. And 2 weeks later, this is where one of the guys I started wholesaling with back in 2015 posted a Instagram post looking for acquisition. I'm like, "I don't know what is acquisition." I'm like, "Hey, dude, what is that?" So, "Oh, this is, where you close deals." I'm like, "Cool. How much do you pay?" He's like, "Stop by my office." I'm like, "Okay, cool." So I went there. I told him I was making 10, 15 grand a month. He was like, "Oh man, I can't promise you you'll make that, but I can promise you there'll be a lot of opportunities." At that time, I was really desperate to just get some of my time back. Just give me some of my time back. I'm like, man. So I quit my job. I waited 2 weeks specifically because if I left 2 weeks prior, I wouldn't get my internet bonus. It was like an additional $2,000. I used my bonus to pay my bills, which is funny just looking back at it. And I stayed there for 2 weeks. I told him, hey, man, I can't do this anymore. And I started working for the wholesale company. And the first thing this guy makes me do is cold call. Keep in mind, I'm coming from a very systemized background, the dealership. They have me in the business development center, picking up phone calls, calling leads, emailing, sending people videos of the car, because they have me doing what I do best, which is closing. So when I go back and when I go to this wholesale company and this guy has me cold calling, I'm stressed out. I'm like, what? I'm like, hey man, like I want to close deals. I'm talking to people that not even interested in selling their houses. What am I doing? And just looking back at it, I truly do appreciate that. And I'll tell you why here in a second. That he started me with cold calling. And then after that, I started closing deals straight from the cold call. I'm like, hey, okay, you're interested? Perfect. I will underwrite the deal. What's funny is where I learned how to underwrite deals was from Jerry Norton back in 2015. And it was crazy is my current mentor, Pace Morby, lives in his house. I was just at that house a few days ago. My mind was just blown. Like, I don't think it has hit me yet, like how unreal that is. 2015, watching Jerry Norton, we all remember when he moved to that nice big house. And now Pace Morby lives here. And I was just walking there like, what? This is crazy. But yeah, started closing deal. So my first deal was a $3,000 deal. I think I made commission. It was like $300 or something like that. That was the best moment of my life. It took me 2 months to get my first deal. Keep in mind, I was making $10,000, $15,000 a month. I made $300. That was because I was like, oh my God, I just made $300 from behind my computer. Just talking to people, talking to random strangers. I just made $300. My next deal was probably maybe 2 weeks later. I made $70,000. But I was still more excited about the $300. The $70,000 was like, oh, okay, cool. Holy crap, there's a lot of money in this business. So fast forward, working for that wholesale company, he decided to go a different route. He wanted to go full on virtual. And my cousin and I at the time, which is now my business partner, Ricky, we started our own company. We started our own company in our own home. I think you guys have seen a little bit sneak peek of my house, my apartment here. It's really nice, really spacious. And he works upstairs in the loft. I obviously have my office here. And he was freaking out. I wasn't freaking out. He was freaking out. My business partner at the time was freaking out. He was like, what are we going to do? We don't have a job anymore. How are we going to make money? I'm like, dude, relax. Guess what? I know how to cold call. We got this. So I skip trace a list and I cold call legit. Like I think we started our company. We got let go like on Friday. And our rent was $3,000. So I got on the phone, started cold calling. 15 minutes later into cold calling, I got a deal and I signed it that same day. This is in Georgia. This is in Georgia. A lot of people like, oh my God, I want to stay in my local market. For what? Go where the money is at. I went to Georgia, got on the phone, cold call, got a deal, assigned it that same day. Legit, the assignment fee was $3,000, the exact amount for my rent. I can't make this up. You can ask Ricky. I can show you the HUD statement. And he was just looking at me like, dude, what? How? That's crazy. And don't get me wrong, it was still ups and down from there. It was still ups and down. But I've not for 1 second, I doubted that we will never make it. Not for 1 second. I knew we were going to make it because I felt how easy this is. This business is so simple. It just takes consistency. By the way, that day I did take an Adderall. I don't even take Adderalls, but it was an animal inside me that day. I'm like, I'm just gonna make this happen. Popped an Adderall. I was just so focused. I had a stand-up desk. I was playing like up-tempo music. It was just going crazy, bro. I was just on the phone cold calling people. 2 months later, we made $160,000 on a deal. That deal was the deal that skyrocketed us to the next level. That's when I was like, oh my God, woo, from a 6-figure wholesaler, this is dope. Crazy. But we were splitting it. The way we split our deals is by someone that would bring me the lead, right? So this is where my business model was born. Wait a minute. So if I can go find somebody that has the money to go pay for VAs and I have the time to call the leads, we can partner up. That's cool. So I remember that was when I first hired my first lead manager. That was his 4th call. It took me 8 minutes to close that lady. And we made 6 figures on that deal. Crazy. This business is simple. All it takes is consistency. That's it. Don't overthink it. Just get on the phone, just like Wolf of Wall Street. Pick up the phone and start dialing. That's it.
Ooh, Alejandro.
That's it.
If you can't pay rent tonight, what's your answer?
Pick up the phone and start dialing.
Boom. If your
That's
girlfriend thinks you're a worthless piece of shit, what do? You
pick up the phone
and start dialing. So guys, this is so, I mean, dude, holy crap. I mean, you've had multiple deals that were 6-figure. I mean, that's just insane. That's insane.
Yeah,
but one thing I want to highlight is this. Marlon, you've interviewed on your podcast Into the Mind and on mine, The Origin Story. We've both interviewed a lot of people who are, 9-figure net worth, over $100 million. And at some point or another, they've all lost it all. They've all had that ego death. And one thing, I'm sure you've noticed this. I've noticed this when I talk to these people. No matter what their predicament is, they lost it all. They're homeless. They're living in their car. They're like Alejandro, and they basically said, F all this noise. I'm going to figure it out. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to do it. One thing that resonates with what Alejandro said is that no matter what, he was absolutely certain that he would find a way.
Yep.
That critical self-belief, guys, whether you haven't done your first deal or not, or maybe there's some people here right now you're here, like Marlon said, you're here searching how to get your first deal, how to get into real estate investing, how to wholesale, how to X, Y, or Z. I can very likely assume that you may not be in a position right now in your life that you're super happy with. This is why you're trying to create a great change by getting into the world of entrepreneurship or looking into it. You may be going through an ego death right now. And for the people who are in that phase of their life right now, know this. It is a season. Marlon and I talked about this before in Miami on our way to Miami with a 3-hour car ride where we just poured into each other about this. It is a crucible that you may be going through right now. Whether or not you make it out of that crucible for the better or for the worse is dependent on one thing and one thing only. And that is your belief in yourself. Period. There's no other way around it. When you're in this crucible and your back's against the wall and you don't know if you can pay the bills because you left your dealership, because they said you need to choose between your job and your family, or you thought you were going to be a pro athlete like Daryl. A lot of you guys don't know this, but I was an athlete too, and I thought I'd be a pro athlete for a bit of time. And when that was taken away, when my other job was taken away, right, I had no idea what I was going to do. But one thing was damn certain, that I was not going to fail becoming who I was always meant to be. Alejandro, dude, that is freaking amazing. So coming from, I mean, we talk about humble beginnings, but, living in an aluminum, was it aluminum?
Mm-hmm.
And in an basically a shed, in an aluminum shed in a third world country, to having 6-figure months Not six-figure year, guys. Six-figure months. To look at where you're at now, not only are you succeeding massively on your own, you are going to be able to pour into everyone who's here right now, but also in the future, the millions of other people that are going to watch you. And if you didn't have that belief in yourself in the beginning, when your back was against the wall, you wouldn't be where you're at right now. So anyone who's going through that crucible, that ego death, where your back's against the wall and you don't know how the hell you're going to put food on your kid's table next month, it's just a decision. Success is a decision, period.
Yep.
So Marlon is still a pro athlete. He absolutely.
Bro, I had on my podcast, investing with Colleen, right? This girl, awesome girl. She's a wholesaler, has a crazy story, right? Where she got hurt. She's paralyzed, right? And she said on the podcast, like I asked her, like, how do you keep going, right? Because she closes 10, 15, 20 deals a month, right? I asked her, how do you do this, right? She said, every morning when she wakes up, she has a choice to either be a boss or a bitch. Straight up. She said she chooses a boss every single day. And if you're going through these tough times, you just got to know, like nobody else needs to know, right? But you need to know that you're going to boss up and you're going to make it. It may not happen right now, but it's going to happen. And if you just live like that, like Alejandro, like he knew, I don't know how this $3,000 is going to come, but it's going to come. I know I have skills, right? I know what I got to do. I don't know if it's going to happen, but I know it's going to happen. I just don't know how. You know what I'm saying? And once you have that mindset, you're back against the wall. You have that choice. Just make that choice.
Yep.
So here's what I want to do to wrap up this episode, because I mean, powerful stories, powerful men on this screen. I'm grateful to call these men my brothers. What I want to do is, if you are watching right now and you are coming from Daryl's YouTube, if you're coming from Sam's YouTube, if you're coming from Alejandro's YouTube, or if you're coming from my YouTube, I want you to go and find my brothers and find their channels and subscribe to their channels. I want to see a cross-pollination, and I want to see that each of them has gone up in following count. If you're hanging out with me on Instagram, by the way, shout out to everybody on Instagram. Y'all couldn't see it, but the IG chat was just blowing up over here. So y'all are killing it. They were just like, people were tuned in. I told them to go to the YouTube channel, and they stayed on the Instagram, and they were just commenting their hearts out. So shout out to all of y'all. I want you to go to the YouTube channel, show some love, show some support. And here's the real big ask. After you've clicked that subscribe button and you've turned on the notifications so that you know when we're going live, it's every Tuesday at 5 p.m. PST. All right. So I gotta say that because I'm in Arizona and that time is going to shift in a little bit. Or it's actually not going to shift because we're the only normal ones.
We the only normal ones.
So Tuesdays at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard. I want you to, after you subscribe, go into the comment section, and here's what I want. Ask what you're looking for. If you're looking for how to get the first deal, if you're looking for advice on a particular topic, if you need understanding, whatever it is you need, we will make these episodes and we will make sure to answer those questions. Here's what I don't want to see. I don't want to see us coming on here and talking about things that are not relevant to you. We're going to be giving high level, and we're also going to bring it down to the ground. We're going to be up in the clouds sometimes, and sometimes we're going to be down in the dirt with very action-oriented tasks. Do this, and come back and report. What I want to see is leave right now in the comments, hey, I want to see you guys talk about an assignment contract. Hey, I want to see you talk about where do I find my buyers? Hey, I was told by my title company that I can't wholesale a deal. Is that normal? Whatever. There are no stupid questions. This show is made for you. So whatever question you have about real estate, whatever question you have about entrepreneurship, whatever question you have about systems, scaling, finances, and we're going to be talking money. Like I want us to talk money. I want to normalize the conversation around money because I did not have that conversation growing up. So I want to have it now. This whole channel and this whole show will be for you. So please interact. Raise your hand by leaving comments. If you want to ever come on stage, and I'm sure we'll be doing this along the way, we'll be bringing guests and audience members on stage. And also what I really want to do is Sam, myself, Daryl, and Alejandro, we have an extensive network. I mean, in 2 weeks' time, I'm interviewing my first certified billionaire on the podcast. I'm excited.
Let's
Crazy.
go.
Man.
And I want to extract as much value as I can to bring back to the community. So let us know what it is you want. Let us know what it is you need. So those 2 steps, you're going to subscribe to everybody's channel and you're going to leave a comment, not tomorrow, not next week, but right now.
Yo, an easy way, in the description below, everybody's Instagrams are posted. Click on the Instagram links. I'm sure everybody has their YouTube link in their bio. Subscribe to all of our channels, like these videos, and like Marlon said, drop the topics that y'all want us to talk about in the comments below. And I'm excited, man. I'm excited.
Yep.
Yes, sir. So next week, we'll be jumping into very basics, right? We're going to be talking about that race to revenue, right? So be prepared next week when you come on next Tuesday. Get ready to have a pen and pencil ready, and you're going to be writing down the steps that you need to take to go get your first check.
Real quick, I want to highlight this. Marlon, are you still doing morning mindset groups?
Yes, sir. Yo, the MMC family is running strong. So for those of you that do not know, I run a community for entrepreneurs. It's called Morning Mindset Coffee, right? It's called Morning Mindset Coffee. My name is Mindset Marlon, so you already know what I talk about. Inside that group, we meet every morning, 7 a.m. Eastern, with entrepreneurs from all across the nation to work on this. If you couldn't tell, right, this is the most important real estate you will ever possess, and you already own it, right? You already own that scot-free. You don't owe any payments on it. However, it's up to you to start adding some upgrades and additions to this. So every morning we get together, and I'm talking high-level entrepreneurs as well as mixed in with brand new entrepreneurs. It's actually a crazy mix in there. I mean, we got guys and girls inside there doing 7-figure months, which is nuts. And we're all in there for the same reason, to work on our mindset every single day to get better as a collective. So if you're interested in being in a campfire where the people around you are going to encourage you to grow, similar to how you see the 4 of us on this screen, and you know that we can have a back and forth conversation. It's not just a one-way monitor. It's an actual Zoom call. It's every morning, Monday through Friday. Go check out morningmindsetcoffee.com. Right now, I'm doing something where I'm letting people try it out for $1 for just a week. You get it $1, which is like Sam yells at me all the time. He keeps telling me that.
Gosh,
I just don't charge.
I'm sorry, guys. Like, I think that Marlon is not just one of my best friends. He's one of he's a brother to me. Dude, you've had such an amazing impact on my life, and in my mind, I owe you at least $100,000 for the mindset growth. That I'm not even in the morning mindset coffee. That's just from our phone calls. So the fact that you do it for $1 is actually, oh my God. And here's the thing, guys. I know for a fact that he is going to be increasing that very, very soon. And if he doesn't, like, I'm going to force him to. So guys, seriously, I've seen so many people go into there and they transcend. It's not that they evolve. It's not that they grow. They transcend. And that is a very unique, specific thing. And there's nothing quite like it there. But because I know there's a lot of, like Marlon said, cross-pollination, where people may not know what Marlon has going on, what I got going on. My people may not know that Marlon is the mindset guy. It's why he's Mindset Marlon. Do you have a tattoo of that yet or not? I mean, is that
I should right across the chest.
Exactly. I'm just saying.
Yo, what I love is what Sam just said, like the cross-pollination, because people don't know Sam is who I talk to when I need to figure out scaling, when I need to figure out, like, straight up, like, I think small in comparison to this man. Like, every time I talk to Sam, I'm just like, yo, my brain is absolutely burst wide open. And when I have people that come to me and they want to do coaching with me and they're saying, look, I'm trying to get my business to operate like this. I'm trying to get my systems in place. I'm trying to get my processes in place. I actually send them to Sam. I shoot them straight over, right? When people come to me and they're like, yo, I need sales. I need to understand closing on like the most minute level. I say, yo, have you talked to Daryl Ellison? Do you know homie with the pearlies? Yo, you gotta go talk to my boy. And then when they're like, yo, I need it done for me. I need that. Like, I just see people calling. I need them generating leads. I'm like, yo, they don't even know Alejandro's got the VA service. Like, this is why I don't try and do everything. I've learned a long time ago that I will fail if I try and do all of this on my own. By myself, I can go fast. However, I'm not here to go fast. I'm here to go far. Right. And it just so happens that these people take me far and they make the journey quicker.
You know, I want to do this as we wrap this up. I want to kind of summarize this because of that cross-pollination. I'm seeing so many amazing names in the chat, some of them that are new to me. So if you guys, please do me this favor. If all these names that we have on our little video streams here, these are our Instagram ads. So if you don't follow me, if you're one of Marlon's guys or Alejandro's guys and you don't follow me, please follow me and then DM me. Let's get to know each other. But I want to summarize this because this is really important for you guys to know what we got going on and what we specialize in. Marlon is the mindset guy. If you want to be in a campfire that is going to help you transcend as a human being, go talk to Marlon. Get in the morning mindset coffee. If you want to work on your sales skills, if you want to become the best freaking closer that you could possibly be, there's no one better to talk to than Daryl Ellison. If you say, hey, I've got the money, I just want to kind of have it all done for me, and I want conveyor belt stuff built for me, right? I just want to offset, I want to offload. That's what Alejandro does. That's this man right here with the beautiful background, okay? Just so you guys know, I'm probably going to copy that background within a couple of weeks. You'll see it. And then if your mindset is this, if you feel like you're a hustler and you think that you're doing okay, but you're not a CEO yet, and you have aspirations to become not just a CEO, but an owner. And not just an owner of one company, but an owner of 20. And then you want to one day be worth 9 figures, and your mind is always going to big is not big enough, and I need to scale bigger. Come talk to me. Woo. All right, guys. Next Tuesday, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, we will see you there.
Yo, peace out, family.